Oh my God. I'm so tired. Why does my head hurt? Why does my scalp hurt? I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. Fuck it. What's up, guys? This is your friendly neighborhood Viking, Ian from the Blackwater, coming back at you with another Motivational Monday. This is number 6, I believe. And today we are going to talk to all of you musicians, you kind of lower level musicians, all of you that are just kind of starting to get out there. We're going to talk about touring. Yeah, everything that kind of goes along with it. Okay. Now let's see here. Touring. Also, let me just say, what I say in all these videos is not facts. These are just opinions based off of my own personal experiences with my band and the many years I've spent at being a musician. So, take them as you want. I'm just going to give you a real life perspective of how this goes. Okay, touring. You shouldn't do it, and you absolutely should do it. Okay? Now, breaking it down, touring is very difficult most of the times. It's difficult on your work life, family life, personal life, physical health. It's difficult on so many actual levels of your well-being that any average person, when you put it on paper, would be out of their mind to do it. So you have all that. And over here, it's pretty simple. You absolutely should go do it. Why? Because there's nothing in the world like it. Nothing at all. And any bands who have done any kind of touring can tell you that. Most of the time, it kind of sucks in a way. When you're kind of a lesser known band and you're going to places that you've never been, people don't care about you. It's very difficult to make money on the road because unless you're kind of a drawing band, people kind of don't care. And that sucks to say because that's not the way it used to be. And right now is harder than any other time because a lot of promoters, a lot of venues don't want to pay their band at all. And this isn't going out to all of you, but there are a lot of them that don't want to pay bands. So a lot of bands are not touring anymore because of this fact. Not really a lot of bands can make a living off it anymore, even bigger bands. There's been tons of interviews with bigger bands that say that they have to be out on tour half the year or something like that just to make the ends meet. And that's crazy. You think of people who are rock stars and all that stuff. You think of them like, oh, they got money, making ends meet, can't be that hard. And then when you read stuff like that, people that are in huge bands that are just getting by, it really gives you like a real world perspective on how difficult it is out there anymore. And it really is. So, and like I said, this doesn't go for everybody. Not all bands have gone through this. I'm sure there's plenty of bands out there that have done touring and had very successful tours and all that stuff. If you're in one of those bands, then good for you. You did everything right. That's awesome. And I would love to hear from you. Just if you had a great tour run or tour experience, that's awesome. I'm very proud for you. Unfortunately, for a lot of other bands, it doesn't always work that way. Usually, it works like this. You spend 3 to 6 months setting up your tour. Everybody in the band has to be able to take that time off of work. So that's difficult on your personal and family life. So you got to make sure all your bills are paid before you even think about walking out the door. And you have to have money to take on tour with you because you can't go out there with nothing. Something's going to happen, something's going to break down, something's going to get stolen, hopefully not. Luckily, we haven't had I don't think we've had any gear like come up stolen on any tours, but we have broken down a lot of times. We've broken down so many times. Could it have been prevented? Some of it was from negligence, but it doesn't matter. Always assume that you're gonna break down. Always have AAA, things like that. If you have children, you have to make sure that your spouse or whoever is going to be able to handle them while you're gone. That's a lot of work, even on its own. Especially if you have ex-husbands or wives or ex-partners or whatever, it can become very difficult at times. That takes a lot of finesse, just that. Pushing that stuff off. Now you're into booking shows. That is a pain in the ass. Oh my God, is it a pain in the ass? Because you hunt down these venues and you go to these cities, or I used a couple of sites online and really helped me out to find a lot of good venues in the cities. But when you contact these venues, one, a lot of them blow you off. They don't say shit to you back. You contact the venues, you ask them for the date, you ask them what kind of sound service they provide, or if you have to provide your own. If you have to provide your own, that's another nightmare. But hopefully provide a service. So you contact them about the date. And then more often than not, this is what you're gonna hear. Nothing. Not a goddamn word. I have a very well-written booking email. It's very well written. It's like a highlight reel. It's everything you need to know. It's all the appropriate links. It's everything right there. And it doesn't take more than about a minute or two to read, which is exactly what they want. They want all the pertinent details, all of the good information right in front of them, and they don't want to work for it, which is fine. You want to make sure all that stuff is laid out for them as easy as possible. You need to have good descriptions on what your band is, what you sound like, where you're from, people you've played with, the expected draw. And be honest. You can bullshit them like a little bit probably, but what you want to do is you want to contact bands in that area or find someone that you know in that area and kind of build your web that way. What you're going to hear, like I said, from the venues is probably little to nothing. And then when you finally do, they're going to say, you need to contact bands, basically you have to do all the work. All they're going to do is say, yes, you can play here. That's how most venues do it. They don't give a shit. You need to book the bands, find the sound, print the flyers, send them the flyers, and I would always send them a digital copy, and I would send out physical copies too. Because a lot of times you will send them digital copies of the flyer, and they don't promote shit. They don't promote a thing. You send them the physical copies, so when you get there, hopefully they hung them up at least. They're gonna not want to pay you. So that's some realistic shit that you're gonna have to learn. Venues do not want to pay bands. And I say that lightly. Like I said, most venues don't want to pay you. I mean, that's just straight up. That's how it is these days. They want you have to do all of the work, and then they don't want to pay you. And that will kick the shit out of your morale in a flash, dude. It will cripple you mentally because it is so frustrating of how much work you have put in just to be able to come to their city and play for a little bit. It is so unbelievably maddening at times. Once you get the okay from the venue, now you have to find bands to fill the show. Because, like I said, assume that they're not going to put any work into it. So now you're hunting for bands in that area. which is a big pain in the ass too. Then you get a hold of some, and they might be booked, or they might be disbanded, because you're gonna find contact links to most people's Facebook page, and you never know if the bands have broken up, if they're on hiatus, because a lot of bands are really terrible at posting stuff, and to be honest. So you kind of don't know until you know, I guess. I was trying to book a show, I don't remember where the hell it was. I contacted a band once, and it turned out to be a guy from Australia, I believe. And now me and him are actually buddies. I speak to him on a regular basis. I mean, that shit happens. You get the venue, and you finally get the bands. Now, you want to try to get yourself hooked up with some decent bands, if you can. It's difficult at times, I know, but you got to do it. You want to get with them, and hopefully they're not too snobby, because a lot of bands are. Let's not bullshit it, all right? There's a lot of bands out there that are snobby as You find the bands that hopefully will jump on your show. Hopefully they don't have a problem with the venue. Hopefully they don't have a problem with other bands that you found for your show. Whatever. Actually, let me backtrack a little bit. You get the one date. Now you have to do however many other dates you do. And you have to make sure that your touring cycle makes sense. You're not going to want to be jumping back and forth and driving past somewhere you just were. You want to make it like in a loop or something that makes sense geographically. One thing that I always did is that when you're trying to contact venues, pick your city, find all of the applicable venues in that city, and then find all of the applicable ones within an hour of that city. Because you might not hear anything from anybody, and that does happen. I mean, you can't make them write you back. You gotta make sure that all of your grounds are covered. A lot of times when we're on tour, if we have off days, we'll go to some town that's close, or it's like on the way to another city that we're going to, and we'll pick up a day. I'll contact a venue when we get to that city, and I'll ask them if they have anything going on. And if they don't, then we'll see if we can slide in. If they already do, we'll see if we can jump on. Whatever. Might as well try to make some more money. So, you found your route, you contacted 100 venues, you heard back from 10, you found bands for the show, you have rehearsed constantly, you're ready to go. What do you do now? Your ass gets in the van, hopefully, and you have a trailer, hopefully. It is nice having a trailer. It's nice to have one that's big enough to put all your gear in and to put some of your personal belongings in. That's what we did. We have a 12-foot trailer, and we kept all our gear on one side, and I built a little wall in it. We could keep a lot of our personal stuff on the other side. We had a little changing area, just like a little, kind of like a living space kind of a thing. It was nice. But that's not where you're living. Where are you living? In the van. That's where you're gonna live for the next week, 2, 3, 4 weeks. Who knows? However long your tour is. We've done them that long, and it is a nightmare. Depending on how much money you have, it's easier to save money on tour than it is to try to go out and scrounge for money. So you got to find ways to cut corners. You got to find ways to make your money go farther. And the easiest way to do that is no hotels. Unless you absolutely have to, it's not even in the equation of getting a hotel room. It's an expense that you don't need. You can sleep in the van and you can take a shower at a truck stop. It's $15. Sleeping in a van, it's awful. It's cool for a little bit, but it kind of sucks. In our van, we had 2 captain's chairs, we had a bench, and in the back, you could sleep 2 people for long ways. Usually, we'd have 2 people back there and somebody on the bench, and every day we kind of rotated, so people got, it's kind of fair, I guess. One thing that I did was I bought a cot and put it in the back of our van, so somebody could be up on it, somebody could be on the floor. That way you're not cuddling with your buddies or whoever else. There was only 3 of us in our van, so I made traveling like a lot easier. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'5", about 300 pounds. I'm a pretty big guy, so space is not my friend. It's hard for me to find the space to fit in comfortably. I have some back problems and some hip problems that make sleeping pretty much awful for me all the time. My sleeping arrangements have to try to be as best as I can possibly make them. But the part that really sucks is I don't sleep that much on tour. Like, hardly at all. And that will really mess you up. You need to sleep as much as you possibly can. The reason I say that is because your body is going through so many different things, so many different climates, and your exhaustion level and all that kind of stuff. You need to get as much rest as you can possibly get. If you're a singer, it's going to put a lot of strain on your vocal cords and all that stuff. And the best thing that you can do is just sleep, not talk and sleep. Best thing you can possibly do. Another good thing, vitamin C. Take it every day, all of the time. Because somebody, whoever you're touring with, if you're touring with other bands, touring alone, somebody's going to get what we call tour aids. Now, that is exactly what it sounds like. Somebody gets sick, and then they give that shit to every single person on the tour. And then you're all miserable, and it makes touring even worse than what it already is. So, lots of vitamin C, lots of sleep, lots of water. Cut down on your salt and your yeast intake if you can. I know that sounds weird, but if you're not showering, you want to kind of stay away from foods with a lot of yeast in it. It will make you smell bad. Some people have a problem with it. Some people develop yeast more than others. And it's just kind of a weird part of the conversation, but it's a real thing. Keep your feet up. You're in a seated upright position with your feet down. That blood has to go somewhere. So it's like being a trucker, you know what I mean? They get blood clots in their legs because they're sitting down constantly. You're in a van for 18 hours a day. So you need to get those feet up. Money. You need to be able to delegate your own personal money. The way that we always did it in the band was any money that came in that was for band purposes. We always tried to make from the show enough to get us to the next place and a meal or two if we can. We always kept a log of all of our sales for our merchandise that night too. That's a good idea actually, because what happens is when you sell merch, you are going to run into a problem. You're going to run out, hopefully. But then you're going to run out and you're not going to have any money if you're not keeping track of where everything goes. You're going to want to make yourself a little inventory list every day. Everything that you have, write it down. Everything that gets sold, just put a mark next to it. And at the end of the night, you have your money. It goes wherever the hell you're going to put it. And you're keeping track of what you're doing, how much money that the band has, and how much money you can live off of. What you don't want to do is you don't want to run out of product and run out of money. And then when somebody says, hey, why don't we have any money? And you go, oh, I don't know, I saw whoever sell a shirt, and this guy sold a CD, and this guy sold a, whatever, and nobody put the money with the rest of the money, so now we have no money. You can't do that, because if there's one thing that will piss you off faster than anything, it is money. And people not putting it where it needs to go. You need to plan this stuff the right way. If you know somebody in the town that you're playing in and you can stay with them and you can shower at their place, do it. What we thought was always a good idea is don't stay in the town that you're playing. So if you play in some city, leave. Especially if you're not from there, leave. Because people know that you're not from there since they see the license plates. They know that you're not from there. They will rob your ass blind and leave you on the side of the road. You don't want that. The only reason I say leave the city is because it's easier. You're more easily accessible, and that's what you don't want to be. So what we would do is we would play in the city, and then we would drive like an hour outside of town and find a rest stop, the one that didn't look too sketchy, and we would just stay there. And the next day, you're off to the next place. Do the same thing. You get to the venue, you play, you leave. And with us, there's no like partying, there's no all night benders and all that stuff. It's a job, it's work for us. There are numerous times where we've been at people's places and we hang out, but like all this shit, what you think it is, you think it's like us partying like early 80s Van Halen and all this stuff, it is not that way. Because you can't. You just can't. We are not in that position. And if you're watching this, you're probably not either. And that's okay, because you have to be smart about touring. Now we're going to go on to driving. I, myself, am kind of like a third shifter, so I'm usually up at night. Speaking of that, it is 4:27 a.m. on Valentine's Day when I'm making this. So I would always do the night driving. Now, night driving is awesome if you're a night driver. It's great because there's not a lot of people out and you can cover a lot of ground, which is what we always try to do. I try to do the majority of the night driving and then get us most of the way there. And then in the morning, after I've driven for 6 or 8 hours or something like that, I'll let these guys drive. And they can drive during the daytime. They're not good night drivers, they're good daytime drivers. So you gotta find out who has the right skill set for what you need when it comes to driving. Whoever is a terrible driver, don't put them on at night. Keep them in the daytime, because that's how people get killed. Drive as much as you can at night and as little as you can during the daytime. Daytime driving is always frustrating, especially if you're not used to driving in bigger cities with crazy traffic. I know I've bitched a lot about touring right now. And there's a lot to bitch about when it comes to touring. I mean, there really is. There's a lot of negatives, but there's a lot of positives to it too. And the way that I always try to think about it is, no matter how bad the shows are, no matter what happened, no matter anything, any little problems, if somebody was a dick or if we didn't get paid or whatever it was, I'm traveling the country with two of my favorite people in the whole world, playing the songs that we wrote in front of anybody who will listen. And we're just hoping to get positive responses from that. If you look at it that way, there's nothing to bitch about. Because that's what we all want to do. We all want to work hard to put out as good as songs as we can. And we want to play them for you. Any chance we get. We just want you to listen. That's a good thing. And that helped keep me from losing my mind a lot of times. Because you get bad days. You get days where you think that your transmission is going to fall out of your van. You have days like with us where our drive shaft has literally fallen out of our van and went down the highway. The 4 hours or 6 hours or something like that you get at the venue, that you can watch other awesome bands and you can get up on stage and you can play your ass off. That's a good day. I get to be with these guys who are amazing players and they're amazing people, and I'm super happy about that literally all the time. Yes, everything about touring sucks a lot of times. But every band should go out and experience it once. You'll learn a lot. You'll learn so much about yourself. You'll learn so much about your actual friendships with these people. And if you can be in a van with these people 24 hours a day for 2 weeks and not kill them, you guys are good. You'll be fine. You can handle anything at that point. It's a very strong test of your will and your friendship. And there's no other people, like I said, I'd rather do it with. So in closing, if you want to go out there and tour, it's going to take a lot of work. And if you really want to make this happen, you're going to need to put that work in. But it's going to feel so awesome if it finally pays off. Which I hope it does. I really do. We haven't toured in quite some time. A lot of us have some serious jobs where it doesn't always allow for us to get that time off. Also, we toured our asses off for a few straight years and made a lot of awesome friends and did a lot of cool shit in the process, but it wasn't working out money-wise. We're not done touring, we're just trying to put the work in the right places where we can possibly tour less, but then make more money. You know what I mean? Trying to build a better foundation. That way you have some leverage to play with, instead of being like, oh, we're in a band on tour and nobody's ever heard of us and we need $50, and the venue goes, well, tough shit. If you are in a band and had an awesome tour experience, just in the comment section, just give me a thumbs up. That's all you gotta do. I would love to talk with some of the bands that are watching this, or hopefully watching this, and let me know your tour experiences. We had a lot of really awesome ones. We've done 7,000 miles in 2 weeks. Okay, we've toured everywhere, and I love doing it. It's a nightmare on everything, but I absolutely love doing it. I love traveling the country and just seeing cool shit and meeting new people and seeing my buddies that live on the opposite side of the country. I never get to see them otherwise. So it's definitely awesome, and I hope all of you that are in a band, I hope you all get a chance to do it someday. And I hope it works out great for you guys. I hope you go out and make all the money that you can possibly make. Alright guys, that is going to do it for another Motivational Monday video. If you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up. Also, if you have any questions that you want to ask that you want me to answer in the next videos, leave them in the comments section. I will be happy to answer all of your questions that you have. Make sure that you're sharing all this stuff. Make sure you're sharing our videos. But most importantly, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Turn your bell notifications on so you're getting all of the notifications for all of our videos we're putting out every week. And happy Monday, guys. I'll see you next time. Later.